Good morning, everybody. Just got out of the shower, trying to get ready for the day. But I want to talk to y'all because Ray of Hope started more than 5 years ago for me. Okay, I grew up in a very, I want to say a very crazy household. Okay, my parents loved me, but define love. They took care of me, okay? They took really great care of me. Anything I wanted, I could do. I had. My dad was an electrician for Duke Power. And so he worked. I mean, he had good money. I lived on a farm. Had a horse, had, everything that I could, possibly want. Now, with that being said, my father was a very bad alcoholic. He went through Vietnam, and I was too young to understand what it truly meant to, to have, difficulties that you're fighting. I had no clue what addiction was because my parents weren't transparent with me. They just told me that it was adult things and that I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So I didn't, I grew up to the side of a little bit, my parents had money. I didn't grow up to, other things, and I was kind of naive. I grew up with a babysitter. She took very good care of me. I mean, she treated me like I was her own daughter. But I never really saw my parents. Like, my parents would get me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and drop me off at the babysitter's by 6:30. And sometimes they wouldn't pick me up till 9 o'clock at night. Now, granted, yes, I knew they had to work. But they also chose an extracurricular activities that really took away from their responsibilities. Well, my dad couldn't maintain his drinking. And when he would drink, he would get very mean. To the point that during Hurricane Hugo, me and my mother, we were in a ditch trying to make it to my babysitter's house so we could get out of the hurricane. Now, I never really spoke upon this because not a lot of people like you speaking upon what happens inside the family when somebody is a veteran or somebody has standing in the community or they have money. Okay, let's get this very clear. Well, my dad was a very well-to-do man, so nobody would, call him out on his bullshit. Nobody would call him out. Nobody would say, look, when you got your daughter, you really don't need to drink. Like, come on. And my dad, it would be different if my father could have drank and not drank to the point of oblivion. But he drank to the point of oblivion. And at a young age, I didn't understand. Like I said, I didn't understand. And he would drink Kentucky Gentleman and Sundrop. Okay? That was his drink of choice. And my mom separated from my dad when I was like, I want to say 7. She had enough. She got tired of the bullshit. She got tired of coming home to a man that, he would work. My dad would work. He would take care of responsibilities. And I'm sure my mom was no fucking angel. You know what I mean? Where, we all have issues. But if me and my mom knew if, she picked me up from the babysitters and we came home and this one bathroom light was open on, that he was drunk. I mean, it was a given. You didn't have to second guess it. It was just going to happen. Well, we put up with that for years. Well, she got out. she finally got out. She decided to leave. She left my dad everything. She left my dad everything. She just wanted out, and I can't, you know, how can you blame somebody for wanting to get away from an asshole? And now he was great when he was sober. Great. Give you the world. But Georgia, please quit, ma'am. Excuse my, I run a rescue too, so I have the inside rescue dog, so she was back there scratching on something. But when he would drink, he would become somebody that nobody, oh my God, nobody, I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. I don't wish that upon any child. I don't wish that upon anyone. I don't. I started going to church at a very, very early age. Let me turn my light on. Oh, God. I started going to church at a very, very early age to get some type of being able to get away. At the end of the day, like, there was only so much that I could take. And I loved my dad dearly. I loved him with everything in me. But a raging alcoholic against a child? No. So, with that being said, my mom got a divorce. I started staying at the babysitters more. And, I started staying at the babysitters more because it was more of a safer place for me to be. And some nights I would spend the night because my babysitter, she figured out that, look, I didn't want to go the fuck home. Because my dad was just very bad to deal with. Let's be honest. If he didn't have to work the next day, he was getting shit-faced drunk. Okay? And I don't say that derogatory. I don't. He had a mental health problem. He was a Vietnam veteran. I'm not trying to put him down. I'm putting down the people in his life that didn't hold him accountable. Or that didn't say, look, you have a child. Those are the people that I'm calling out during this. My dad was, you know, yeah, he was a grown man, but at the end of the day, he had a problem. And he never thought that he had a problem. He thought that he was just, you couldn't tell him nothing. You know what I mean? You couldn't tell him shit. You couldn't say, be like, Joe, I mean, I think you don't need to drink tonight. You know what I mean? Like, you know, don't drink tonight. You couldn't tell him nothing because he'd do what the fuck he wanted to do. And I don't blame him. He was a pathfinder in the Vietnam War. He had to do some really, 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 really bad things in life. Would I ever want to be put in his shoes to have to kill a child? Absolutely not. But he was drafted, and that was something he had to do as a pathfinder. He chose to be a parachuter. He chose to jump. I'm thinking. So at the end of the day, I gained a lot of resentment after the years. Okay, I would go to church on Wednesday. Anytime the church doors were open, I would go to church. Well, I had been going to church. I went to Liberty Baptist Church in Mooresville, North Carolina, well, Mount Warren, before they built the new church. Okay, before they built the new church, I started going to Liberty Baptist Church. I loved it. Got in the choir, met people, got to, you know, and slowly but surely I would let people in and tell them, look, you know, and I had to be home at a certain time too. Like, I couldn't just be out any time of the, you know, my dad wanted me home by 9 o'clock. And if I wasn't home and he was out of, you know, if he was drinking, it was bad. So, you know, I used to, you know, started staying at church. I sang. I loved this. I loved, you know, singing in the church choir. Like, that was something I thoroughly enjoyed. So, I gained a lot of, you know, friends, a lot of family, church members, and people would ask, be like, well, where's your parents? And I'd be like, I don't know. At home, I guess. And a lot of people would ask me, well, have you invited your parents to church? Well, what do you think? Do you think I invited my parents to church to go with church with me? I did. I invited them a lot. I even invited them when I got baptized. And my dad came. He didn't stay very long, but he at least came when I got baptized. And, thought I was doing the right thing. I was a child in church by themselves. I had the guidance of my elders in the church, but, for the most part, it was just me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure my mom and dad knew where I was, but I was at church. And they really didn't give two iotas. I mean, they knew I was at church, but as long as I told them that's where I was going, they were fine. Because I wasn't in their hair. And yeah, I said it. I wasn't in their hair. And over the years, I started developing friendships with people inside the church, around the church. Well, when I was 13 or 14, I got introduced. A friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go to a revival. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I want to go. Like, let me get out of the house. I was at my mom's house. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I want to go. I don't want to be home. Because my mom, she had a bad habit of picking up boyfriends that weren't worth shit. Whatever. So, I was like, yeah, come pick me up. So I got ready. And she's like, you have to get ready early because we have to drive a little ways. And I was at Mooresville Free Will Baptist Church that we were going. I'll never forget it. I wish I would have never went. Well, let me retract. There's parts of me that wish I would have never went, but I gained so much knowledge. And I gained friendships that I would have never had I not met this person. So, even though it broke me to the core after what I'm going to tell you what's happening, I'm going to tell you. But it broke me to the core. But, anywho, we'll get to that point. So, she picks me up, and we, she had I think it was a little Nissan, like a 1982 Nissan 4-door. It was dark blue. And she was a little bit older than I was. I wasn't, she was in high school, and I think I was still in middle school. So, she would pick me up, and we went. And when we got there, we sat out in the parking lot. It was a gravel parking lot. It was a smaller church, and I liked smaller churches. I liked the home feel. Even as a child, early in my relationship with God, I liked a preacher that stepped on your toes. Like, held you accountable sort of thing. You know what I mean? And, so, with that being said, we walked in the church doors. And this was the same type of church. We were, a traditional Baptist. They were a Free Will Baptist. That was basically the only difference, but they were having a revival. So we got there like 30 minutes early, right? 30 minutes early, and I was, walked through the door, and I'll never forget it. As long as I live. I walked through the door. My best friend, Tracy, was right beside me, walking through their two front glass doors. And I remember walking through the door, looking up on the stage, and the people that were playing, warming up, guitar, bass, whatever, for gospel music, were up there. I looked up and saw this guy playing the guitar, and I looked at my best friend. I said, I'm going to marry that man one day. And she looked at me and she said, Courtney, you don't even know that man. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to marry him one day. And she said, Courtney, you're crazy. Well, thanks. I guess I'm crazy. Because I did end up marrying him a couple years later. But after that night, I introduced myself, and things kind of took off. Well, I was introduced to his parents, who I adore and will always adore. I don't get to see them. I don't get to see much of his side of the family anymore. I miss them because he has a lot of great family. But we got married, well, I moved in, I left home, and I moved in with his mom and dad. Now, mind you, they didn't have to do what they did. They didn't have to extend their home. They didn't have to give me a place to land, you know? And I'm so very thankful. And a lot of people that love my dad never want to believe the fact that my dad wasn't behaving when he would have me and get drunk. I'm not saying that he would physically touch me, but any man that can't handle his liquor and exposes himself to his child, no matter if you're in the bathroom or whatever it is, to me that is uncalled for. And that is what happened on several occasions. And I reached out to family members and I was told to hush. And so when family members wouldn't listen to me and my mom, I was like, you know what? It's never going to get any better. It's going to get worse. And I can't do it. I just couldn't. I was like, at what cost? At an early age, I was like, my mom's done left. So if my mom left, why, you know, and I would look at my mom, I'd be like, I don't want to go to his house tonight. Like, I'll go if he promises to stay sober. And he would never promise. He would tell my mom that he wasn't drinking. But he would always drink. And there was people in my life that knew this, that knew he was still drinking and violating the terms of the child support agreement. He was violating everything. He didn't care. And I told people, I was like, come on. I was like, please, I don't want to be here. Like, I love my dad. It has nothing to do with that. It's just, no. No child should ever have to go through that or experience that. I don't give a shit what you say. And you can come on my channel and say, well, how dare you speak bad of your father? Until you lived it, I don't want to hear it. And some of you people that are probably going to watch this are probably going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. Well, if you're in my family, you knew. And you chose to ignore it for years. And, you know, a father's love doesn't extend to not being able to compose himself. I mean, I did everything as a youth to try to get him to stop drinking when I was there. You remember Icapac syrup? I don't know if you know what it is, but back in the day, you could buy this stuff called Icapac syrup, and it would make you vomit if you swallowed something you weren't supposed to swallow. Well, I got somebody to buy me some. And I put it in every bit of his liquor. I put it in everything. I was like, maybe he'll quit if he gets sick enough from it. If I get him sick enough, maybe he'll quit. That didn't work either. So, I mean, I was caught in a catch-22. When your elders don't want to listen to you, what do? Like, there's not much you can do as a child. And I knew that going to school, saying something was just, that wasn't going to fucking fix anything. It just wasn't. My dad had money. And he knew how to make people hush. And people can get mad at that all they want to. But the facts are facts. Okay? And again, it's not that I don't love my father. It's the fact that I'm mad at the people around him that didn't help hold himself accountable. Now, so I left home when I was 13 or 14. I can't remember exactly what, I can't remember exactly, what the fuck did I do with my, I can't remember exactly what year, but, I left. I told his parents, I was like, look, I can't stay there no more. This is happening. So they let me move in with him. His parents. The guy that I met at church. And we continued to go to church. We continued to be a Christian big family. And I grew to love these people. I fell deeper in love with the man that I thought that loved me. And the fact of the matter is, the man never loved me. And, you know, I was just young and dumb and wanted out of a bad situation in my home life. And I trusted, you know, I thought this man, well, he wasn't a man. We were both young, but he was older than I was, and I thought that he loved me. I thought that, you know, when he said his vows, I mean, I wasn't pregnant. None of that. And, Runt, please quit, sir. I didn't want to get pregnant. I mean, I wasn't pregnant when we got married. Like, we got married, you know, because we wanted to. You know, he told me he loved me. The whole thing. His family was in my wedding. His mother-in-law was, you know, there. I mean, it was a magical moment. Like, I was just so happy. I was extremely, extremely happy. You couldn't tell me no different. My dad gave me away. And that was it. So we were together for a couple years. We bought a trailer, a car, a couple cars. I was working 2 jobs at the time because, you know, I wanted us to have things. You know, I had a horse. We had our house that was paid for. Like, we had shit together. I'll give us that. We had our shit together. We could buy anything I'd want. I mean, he worked every day. He had a bad habit of spending everything on hunting and fishing, but he always made sure the bills were paid for the most part. So, we were married a couple years. I want to say 3 years, I think, together for like 8. And we had a wedding at our church. And this girl came down from Ohio. And she just pretty much eased her way into she was an ex before me. And he found himself in bed with her. He swears up and down to this day he didn't do nothing with her. But you don't hide your truck behind your brother and sister-in-law's house if you're not fucking somebody. Sorry. I went and I was completely and utterly devastated. I broke the fuck down. I was like, how the fuck could you? We just bought him a brand new motherfucking truck. I was really mad. I reached out to my mom. She could care less. She was down at the beach doing her thing. I kind of reached out to my dad. He didn't have much to say. Like, he didn't realize at that time why I had done what I did. Like, because my dad still swears sometimes that he doesn't remember getting drunk ass, buck ass naked in front of me. Well, I'm sure you're not when you've done finished 2 half gallons. You're not going to remember shit. You drink 2 half gallons of Kentucky Gentleman and Sundrop, you're fucking 3 sheets to the goddamn gum wind. You're not going to remember a damn thing you've done or have done, okay? So don't come for me for that either. But, you know, there was a big part of me that was very broken. I trusted him. I thought he would never break my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, there's no way he'd break my heart. Like, he has to love me, blah, 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 blah. Well, I tried to make it work. Like a dumbass. I went to our house at the time. Hold on, I'm looking for something. But, I remember I went to his mom and dad's. Because I was like, what the fuck? I was like, am I seeing this shit? So I went, his mom got off work. I think she had quit working, or she had hurt her back or something. So I called her, and I was like, your son cheated on me. And they were like, do what? I'm like, yeah, I just called him at, his brother's house. And at the time, it's my brother and sister-in-law. I said, no, I just called him at, such and such is with her. So, and I was I didn't know if I was coming or fucking going, bro. Really didn't. I was devastated. I was like, what the hell am I gonna do? Another man had yet turned their back on me and didn't want me. And I told him when I married him that there was no divorce in my mind. There was no, well, no, this ain't gonna work or any of that. I told him, are you 100% certain that this is what you want to do? And he would always say, yes, I love you. So, and two, we broke up. Well, I caught him in bed with her. Right around my birthday. Oh my God, it's got stuff all over my pants. I hate these pants. Well, I caught him in, it was right around my birthday. So, and my father-in-law's birthday was 2 days before mine. His was the 24th. If I'm not mistaken. And, I was staying at my mother-in-law and father-in-law's house so we could figure out some things. I was like, I don't want to go back home. I was like, I'm not going to sleep with a man that, doesn't want me there. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, if you don't want me there, I didn't want to be there. And I didn't know anything at that age about, getting the proper paperwork for divorce. I left him everything. And I lost my car in the process. So, I lost everything. It was a complete nightmare. A complete nightmare. And, I hated every waking moment of it. I couldn't stand to see his face. I couldn't, after he pretty much said, fuck you, 101 times over, that he wasn't going to get back with me, I was like, you know what? It's done. It's done. There's nothing I can do. We're done. Okay? And so, I need some concealer. So when that happened, I let him have the house. I went in and totaled the fucking house. Like, I destroyed everything. I put lipstick on the walls. Like, I wouldn't let him have shit. I was so mad. Like I was beyond mad at that point. Like we had done worked so hard for everything. And just give it all the fuck away. And, like I said, I was really upset. And then his family started turning on me. Which is normal. Because it's their son. You know what I mean? and I soon became the outsider. Like, places that I was once welcome, I wasn't welcomed because he wanted to start seeing new people. Way before it was time to start seeing new people, if you follow my drift. So, so with that being said, sorry, great silence there, I was thinking. So with that being said, I just, I kind of spiraled at that point. I met Haley's father, who, my oldest, I met her father. Shit went downhill from there with him. We were together 5 years and he couldn't keep his dick in his pants either. And two, I really didn't trust any male after that. Like, you learn, as a female, you learn, like, what's the point in getting fucking hurt repeatedly? So you start learning the game. You start learning, okay, well, men can be cold-hearted about it. Why can't I be cold-hearted about it? And I hate to be that way. I really, really do. But, I just really didn't trust anybody after that. I didn't trust anybody. I couldn't trust my family. I mean, my dad would give me money, but that was to get out of his face. I mean, he was much more concerned with drinking. Please quit. Thank you. He was much more concerned with drinking. And like, again, I don't say that to be mean. I don't say that to be hateful. But what I do say is there's people in his life that knew what he was doing. And no child should ever be pushed to be able to leave home at a young age. It forces them to grow up very quickly. I had 2 jobs by the time I was 15. Married by the time I was 17. Because I believed in the fairy tale. I was like, this man, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, the fairy tale wasn't fucking real. The fairy tale doesn't fucking exist, if you want my opinion. But, you know, that's some of my story. I'm going to end there for today because it's 30 minutes long. But that's some of what I got you up to my first marriage and my first daughter. And it's only half the battle, folks. Only half the battle. During those times, I really didn't use anything that was an addictive source, so to speak. I kind of just put my nose to the grindstone and I worked a lot. A lot. I tried to prove to people that I was something. I went to school. I went and got my GED. I put myself in nursing school. So I did a lot of things and I was trying to prove myself in that form and fashion. Drugs came about when I was like 25 years old. They came into my life. So we'll get into that in the next video. But I just kind of wanted to give y'all a little life, inside the life of, me, what created Ray of Hope, why, and the mission. The mission is to change lives all the way from a childhood to an adulthood. Every life matters, and I do think if we can live transparently, that we can help a lot of people, because life is not simple. Life is not easy. You're not given a fucking rule book. So, quit. You're gonna make mistakes, and just own up to your mistakes. At the end of the day, you're human. You're fucking human. Nobody's perfect. So, I love you fuckers. I really do. Thank you for sticking it out with me for 34 minutes. If you want to hear more of my story and how I made it through Active Addiction. Hit the comment, like, share, subscribe, share. Right now, I am bananaed on TikTok because I get to in detail with describing things when it comes to active addiction. And like I said, I tell it all. Like, I'm very transparent with a lot of things. So, I encourage you to do you today. I encourage you to be kind to yourself. I encourage you to know your worth, because I wish I would have known mine. I hope y'all have a great day, and thank you so much for everything that you've given me through Ray of Hope, and I hope to bring recovery community centers to every community in America. That's the ultimate goal of Ray of Hope. So spread love, not hate, and we'll see you next time. Peace out, guys.